Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. A Channel 4 News investigation in Britain has revealed executives from the company Cambridge Analytica boasting about entrapping politicians and launching fake news campaigns in order to sway elections around the world. The revelations come only days after it was revealed Cambridge Analytica harvested the data of more than 50 million Facebook users without their permission in efforts to sway voters to support President Donald Trump. Cambridge Analytica was founded by billionaire Robert Mercer and Trump's former advisor Steve Bannon of Breitbart News. On Monday, Channel 4 News broadcast videos it secretly recorded of Cambridge Analytica executives talking about entrapping politicians by sending women to seduce them or sending people posing as developers to propose a bribe. This is a clip of the Channel 4 News report in which the reporter went undercover posing as a potential client in order to reveal Cambridge Analytica's tactics. The video features Cambridge Analytica CEO Alexander Nix and executive Mark Turnbull, but it begins with narration.
Prepared, it seems, to ruin their clients' opponents through handouts and honey traps.
Send some girls around to Candy's house.
Through sex, secrets and spies.
I know people who used to work for MI5, MI6.
Old-style tactics wedded to the new.
We just put information into the bloodstream, to the internet, and then watch it grow.
The Channel 4 News expose comes as Facebook's stock plummeted Monday following the revelations about how Cambridge Analytica harvested its data in order to launch targeted political ads aimed at carrying out Robert Mercer's far-right political agenda and helping President Trump win the 2016 election. The reports have spurred calls for increased regulation of Facebook. A top executive is leaving Facebook amidst an internal dispute over how much to disclose to the public about how Russians use the platform to spread propaganda ahead of the 2016 election. Alex Stamos is Facebook's chief information security officer. The news of his impending departure this August comes as Facebook is now confronting a new firestorm about the Cambridge Analytica data breach. President Trump again called for the death penalty for drug dealers during a speech in Manchester, New Hampshire, Monday.
The ultimate penalty has to be the death penalty. Unless you have really, really powerful penalties led by the death penalty for the really bad pushers and abusers, we are going to get nowhere. And I'm telling you, we are going to get somewhere.
Preliminary data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says more than 67,000 people died from drug overdoses last year. During Trump's speech, he also attacked the sanctuary city of Lawrence, Massachusetts, blaming the city for the spread of fentanyl in New Hampshire. A package destined for Austin exploded at a FedEx facility in Schertz, Texas, northeast of San Antonio overnight. The package was filled with nails and pieces of metal. Early reports indicate no FedEx workers were seriously injured in the explosion. Authorities are investigating whether the failed package bomb is related to the serial bombings across Austin, which have killed 2 members of prominent black families and injured 6 others since the first bombing on March 2nd. Authorities said Monday that the 4th explosion Sunday night was set off by a tripwire, indicating a higher level of sophistication. Police are investigating whether the bombings are hate crimes, with 2 people killed, members of prominent African-American communities in Austin, a 17-year-old teenager and a 39-year-old man. In Washington, D.C., activists have laid 5,000 flowers onto the lawn of the U.S. Capitol to symbolize the 5,000 Yemeni children who've been killed or injured in the ongoing U.S.-backed Saudi-led bombing campaign in Yemen. The protest comes as the Saudi Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, is slated to arrive in Washington, D.C. today to meet with President Trump. On Monday, activists called on lawmakers to support a new bipartisan resolution, Senate Joint Resolution 54, to end the U.S. military involvement in Yemen within 30 days, unless Congress formally authorizes the military action. This is activist Iram Ali.
This is one of the worst humanitarian crises in the world right now, and it is still ongoing when it can be stopped with just passing this legislation and allowing humanitarian aid in.
The bipartisan legislation could be voted on as early as today. In Syria, residents are continuing to flee the northwestern city of Afrin amidst reports of widespread looting by Turkish and Turkish-backed troops who seized control of the Syrian Kurdish city on Sunday. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has now vowed to continue the Turkish military offensive against other Kurdish-controlled areas in northwestern Syria.
Dün Afrin şehir merkezine After controlling the city center of Afrin yesterday, we completed the most important phase of Operation Olive Branch. Now we will continue this process with Munbij, Ain al-Arab, and Ras al-Ain, and Kamishli, until we remove all of this corridor.
Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy has been taken into police custody for questioning amidst an investigation into whether he received millions of euros in illegal campaign financing from the late Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi in 2007. Sarkozy has repeatedly denied the allegations. Back in the United States, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren, and other experts hosted a live-streamed town hall Monday night on inequality in America, the rise of oligarchy and collapse of the middle class. During the discussion, economist Darrick Hamilton spoke about the intersections of race, education, and class.
We know that if you are a head of household and you're black, and you graduated from college, your family's wealth position is lower than that of a white family where the head dropped out of high school. So this feeds into the narrative of, can we simply work hard, study hard, and address inequality? The answer is no. Those things are important. Education is important in its own right. So when Senator Sanders proposes that we should have tuition-free public education, absolutely. But as an end unto itself, we exaggerate the economic returns to education, particularly for marginalized groups. And when we start getting into these narratives of a post-racial society, we're not there. Now, we can come up with comprehensive programs that include everybody, but we need to do it differently this way so that we make sure nobody is left behind.
Monday night's town hall came as a landmark new study shows rich white boys are likely to remain rich as adults, but that rich black boys are more likely to become poor or middle class as adults. The study, led by researchers at Stanford, Harvard, and the Census Bureau, debunks widely held ideas about income inequality and race. It shows how racism still deeply affects African-American men's lives, even if they grow up in the country's richest neighborhoods and have high levels of education. The study also reveals the disproportionate impact of the criminal justice system, showing how black men who were raised by millionaires are just as likely to be incarcerated as white men who were raised in poor households. The Supreme Court has rejected a Republican appeal to block the redrawing of Pennsylvania's congressional map. The Pennsylvania State Supreme Court ruled the congressional map unconstitutionally favored Republican candidates and ordered it redrawn. The new, more equitable map is expected to offer a boost to Democratic candidates during the 2018 midterm elections. In Arizona, a self-driving Uber car killed a pedestrian Sunday night in Tempe, leading Uber to quickly suspend its self-driving tests in Tempe, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, and Toronto. Sunday night's fatal crash occurred despite the fact that there was an emergency backup driver, a human, sitting behind the wheel. The pedestrian is believed to be the first person to be killed in association with new self-driving technology. The actress Cynthia Nixon has officially entered the race for governor of New York. She'll be challenging New York Governor Andrew Cuomo in the Democratic primary later this year. And Mississippi Republican Governor Phil Bryant has signed into law one of the most restrictive anti-abortion laws in the country, banning abortions after 15 weeks, even in the case of rape or incest. The Center for Reproductive Rights has sued Mississippi over the ban, calling it unconstitutional. Lawsuits by the center have blocked similar laws in Arizona, North Dakota, and Arkansas in recent years. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.
And I'm Juan Gonzalez. Welcome to all of our listeners and viewers around the country and around the world.